Hi everyone, Dave Knight from Do3 with another quick fire video analysis of a swimmer's stroke. So as the name suggests, we're going to be trying to get through this as quickly as we can. We have kind of taken off the time limit because it was kind of restricting things and it was stopping us getting the kind of the quality out that we wanted to. So we're going to keep it short, keep it snappy, and focus on probably one main element of the stroke as we do the review. So that's the kind of the idea. Right, so we've got Chris today sent a video in. So I haven't seen these videos at all. So we've got 5 videos to watch. If any of you are watching, it's always good to know who's out there. So just feel free to type some comments in the box, ask any questions you may have, or maybe give some comments yourself on what you think Chris can do to improve his stroke. It'd be interesting to see what you guys think. So just feel free to type that in the box, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, and it'll come through on the screen this end, and we'll go through those in a little while. So like I say, I haven't seen these yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what we've got. All right, I do know Chris. I will put that out there. I do know Chris. I've seen Chris. He swims in the squad with us fairly regularly. Haven't kind of analysed his stroke before, but obviously aware of how he swims. But this is the first time I've seen any underwater footage of Chris, as far as I'm aware. So let's get into it, see what we've got. So let's just go through these in no particular order. So first one. Let's put you on the iPad there. So hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to play this through and see what we've got. Okay, so it's Chris underwater from his right-hand side. Let's see. I'm going to play this full speed first of all. See what we've got. So Chris is a decent swimmer. He's in our lane. He's in lane. Well, that's a very short clip. He's in lane 6, which is one of our faster lanes at Tudor Grange. Okay. So from the side there, I think what I'm doing is I'm going to whiz through these and see what we've got. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at the second one. Okay, so above water this side from his left-hand side. Springing quite nicely there, Chris, actually. Nice and straight, decent alignment. Okay, right, let's have a look at the next one. What's this one? So this one is, okay, underwater from the left-hand side. Oh, very short one as well. Okay, we only need a couple of arm strokes to see what we need most of the time, so that's okay. Yeah, again, if you're watching, what do you think? Going down the pool this side, it's breathing to the right. Well, it's breathing both sides. It's breathing bilaterally. Kicking quite hard, kicking out the water as you can see there. And finally, what have we got? This is from in front. Okay. And a nice little tumble turn at the end there. Okay, all right. So going back to the beginning here. First of all, there's lots of nice things about Chris's stroke. I think I'm going to go back to this one first of all. There's lots of nice things about Chris's stroke. Just checking to make sure. Yeah, we are on. Good. Sometimes I go through this for about 10 minutes and then have a horrible feeling that I actually haven't pressed start or something. So you are there. That's good to see. All right, so yeah, lots of nice things about Chris's stroke. He can hold a decent pace. I think he swims on around about 6 minutes or thereabouts for 400. So he's a reasonable pace. I happen to know Chris is an amazing runner and a decent cyclist too. So a good all-round triathlete. 16-minute 5K. 16 minutes. Yeah, pretty damn impressive runner, Chris. So he obviously wants to pull his swimming up to his 5K running standard. Right, okay, let's see what we got. So first of all, in terms of good things, I'm not sure why that's flickering there, but in terms of good things, Chris's alignment is really nice. So he's spearing in, and when I talk about alignment, what I'm talking about here is ideally we want to be having the body traveling down the pool in a nice straight line. You can see you draw a line from the center of Chris's hand there. It's not very kind of a bit blurry where it's been paused there, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about, all the way back through to the back of his leg. Going to play this through. On the left hand side, spears in nicely. Nice spearing in, look at that. Spearing into a good depth, again staying nice and straight. Chris's bum's on the surface of the water there, so his body position is obviously pretty good. He's looking a long way forwards. You can see his head. It's quite sometimes a giveaway is the goggle strap line. Kind of looking forwards here, which is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It's different for everybody. We'll have a look underneath the water at that in a second. The left hand spearing in. So not a huge amount to kind of report back on from above the water, it must be said. So he looks nice and neat and tidy. All good. So let's have a dip underneath the water. So not a huge amount to talk about from this. It's all looking nice and neat and tidy from above. Kick is nice. He's kicking pretty hard. The only thing I'd say about that is whether or not, if Chris is going to do some endurance work, whether or not that hard kick is really needed. But at that particular moment in time, he was obviously working pretty hard. So he was kicking pretty hard there. Right, so I think this is where we're going to be concentrating most of our time here. So what we've actually got with Chris, on the left-hand side, he's, as we know, he spears in quite nicely. He's spearing in fairly deeply, which isn't necessarily, again, is neither a good nor bad. It's different for different people. So when I say spearing in, it's kind of the depth and the direction his hand is coming into the water here. So it's spearing in. It's not the best colour for that, is it? Let's see if we can do yellow. There we go. Spearing in that way. Now what he does, Chris, is he kind of spears in then extends forward. So this is certainly something I'd ask Chris to look at, is extending forwards and actually kind of pushing. It's not too bad. I mean, Chris swims pretty well, so maybe I'm splitting hairs a little bit, but he's pushing forwards with the hand there, which I'm questioning whether or not we're actually kind of putting the brakes on a tiny bit at the front there. Again, I am kind of splitting hairs a little bit, so I'm not too concerned with this. Let's see what happens when we play this through. Okay, so I think this is certainly something that Chris can get some gains from here. In terms of what I'm talking about here is the positivity at the front of his stroke. So ideally what we'd have is we would have an extension of the arm and then a break of the forearm and then the hands coming down, kind of something like that. Okay, so Chris is very slightly different to that. As you can see, he's kind of up and then the hand is flat. Okay, so that'll have a tendency to push the, said that way, to push the water a little bit this way at the front of the stroke. It's a minor thing, but it's something that that Chris can certainly think about. But as we progress this through here, what happens is the hand is kind of, and the arm is coming down and starting to come back. Kind of holding a straight line. The best way for me to demonstrate this is to show you what it would otherwise look like with a different swimmer. Okay, someone with a kind of a cleaner kind of catch the front end of the stroke. So ideally, what we'd be wanting to see again was an extension at the shoulder and then a break at the forearm. So you have a vertical forearm. So the forearm kind of almost starts to come down this way with the hand at the bottom there. And he's kind of pulling through fairly straight. We'll have a better look at this from the straight on view. So there's not very little break in the arm. Again, we'll have to have a look at a different angle on this just to make sure. In fact, what I'm going to do here is just to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. Again, we've used this a lot recently because this is a really good clip of Rebecca Adlington. So this is Rebecca Adlington swimming, being filmed by Paul Newsom from Swim Smooth. So let's just have a look at this and get Becky. I think I've used this virtually every analysis I've done so far because it's obviously an area that people need to work on the fronts of their stroke. So Rebecca Adlington, and regardless of whether you're kind of a nice, straight, smooth kind of stroke with like a classic pull stroke with an extension at the front and then a high elbow push down, or whether you're somebody who comes in more of a swinger style, coming in a little bit more sideways at the front, regardless of what you do, what we want to see is at the front of the stroke is. See, I'm kind of pausing Becky Adlington at the front of her stroke there, kind of in a similar position to where Chris is. And I want to link these two and see if we can push them through at the same time. So what I'm trying to get at here really is, I'm hoping you can see that, is that Chris is actually pulling through fairly straight. Okay, so if I can draw a line straight, pretty much straight, I haven't done that very well, pretty much straight down Chris's arm here. Okay, whereas what I was trying to demonstrate with the arrows all over, I was drawing all over Chris earlier, was Becky's very much got a break in her elbow, break in her arm, at the elbow I should say. All right, what that allows her to do is to push the water straight back. So she's in a really strong position there with the ability to push that water back. And that's what you want to do when you're propelling yourself through the water, is push the water back the way you've just come. So pushing it backwards in effect. What you don't want to be doing is pushing it down here. Okay, it's not going to have as much impact as if Chris could push the water back that way. So because Rebecca can drop that forearm down, she's actually turning the whole of her forearm into a paddle. And you imagine she's able to push all that water all the way back. She keeps on pushing it back there. She's pushing it back all the way as she continues through the stroke. And even as the hand starts to disappear out of view, it's still pushing back. All right, we're not quite getting the same thing with Chris. Here's on the left-hand side, sorry, on his right-hand side, I should say. And it's still quite straight, whereas again, you can't quite see it quite so obviously on Becky Adlington's stroke on her left there, but it's pulling through quite straight. So I'm just going to get rid of Becky for a second. Oh, wrong one. Hang on a second. Where are we? This one. So if you play it in full speed, it's got kind of a bit of a press down. And he's not just effectively not catching the water at the front of the stroke as well as he could. That is by far Chris's biggest win. Again, from the surface, you can't really see a huge amount that we can work on. Let's have a look straight on and see if we can see what we kind of just clarify what we're talking about here. The water reflections. Here we go. So let's see if we can get him a bit closer. Here. Again, let's see if we can zoom in. It's not great quality because just the way the camera is kind of paused there. But again, you can just see under the water, Chris's arm is pretty straight under the water here. Ideally, we'd be having more of I'll change the colour of this, have more of an angle at the arm here pulling through. So you'd have a break at the elbow where that kind of degrees number is. And the hand would be pulling through beneath the shoulder there. Whereas Chris's hand is out wide. So what do? I do feel like these are very similar across all the weeks that we've done so far. We'll have to kind of start picking some people with different issues because it all does seem to be the improvement is very much at the front end of the stroke. Chris's body position is nice. Haven't checked his breathing, but I'm not too concerned about that. Lots of nice things, but it's just that front of the just not catching the water at the front there. So what we're going to do about it? Well, it's going to be similar to what we've been doing with lots of others. In fact, what I'll actually do this time is have a look at. So I've got some of Paul. In fact, I'll go back to a different folder here. Some of Paul's. I'm looking for the Javelin Drill. Here we go. So Chris, for example, could do something like the Javelin Drill, which is a drill where you kick on one side. You kick with fins on. I don't know, I'm going to ignore what I just said there. Kick on one side, completely wrong there. So you start off by kicking on the one side. So the lead arm out front. So you get nice alignment in the water. And then what I'm really looking for here is this part of the drill at the end of the stroke here. So you kick along on your side with a freestyler, freestyler paddle on your lead hand. A freestyler paddle is a pointy paddle with a keel on it, so it makes you you can sense when you're straight in the water. If you're not, then the paddle will twist. And really focus on catching the water with that hand and pushing with the paddle, pushing that hand straight down, keeping it nice and straight as it kind of tracks down and gets deeper in the water. The paddle will help that stay nice and straight, and also give some kind of focus to Chris while he's actually doing that, because you've got a paddle on the hand. It really makes you think about what you're doing. This is a drill where you just have the paddle on one hand. You work on the left side, and then you would repeat and work on the right side. So if I just play that through. So nice and straightforward, just really focusing, and you can just see it there where Paul engages the catch. You can just see it there. Paul engages the catch, and we'll kind of be able to work on having a nice high elbow. Another thing you can do is actually quite a simple one. I'll put myself back on camera here. It's quite a simple one. Where am I? Here we go. Is to actually do front crawl, normal front crawl, but actually make sure that your arms are tracking alongside the black line. So you've got black line going down the pool. Focus on what your hands are doing. Actually have a look a little bit and really focus on, give yourself some room here, really focus on extending forwards and then pushing down. So you're pressing the water down at the front of the stroke and ending with a high elbow like Rebecca Adlington did. Can't see that very well black on black, but hopefully you can see what I mean. And then that would be able to be pushed straight back. So just get your head up, have a look at it, and almost as though you're pulling yourself along the lane ropes. So you can do that full stroke, so full freestyle, or you could do the doggy paddle drill, which is like front crawl, but without recovering over the water, you recover under the water. And again, you're extending forward and really working on that push down at the front of the stroke there. That's, Chris, really is all that I would work on with you. The other thing we kind of maybe look at, sometimes it's not all about technique, it's about the type of training sessions that you do, because there's lots of good things happening there. So it may well be that, apart from the technical element which we've spoken about there, it may well be volume, how often are you swimming? Because what we find is once swimmers get to about, 6 minutes or thereabouts for a 400, then they plateau out depending on how often they're swimming. If you're swimming 3 times a week and you're at 6 minutes for 400, the reality is you're probably not going to get that much quicker than that, unless you put more volume in. Volume is king when it comes to swimming, so you will always plateau, and you may get to 5:45 on 4 swims a week. You put more volume in. So the actual technical element of the stroke is only one component part. There's also the volume, and there's also the type of swimming that you do. So what's your weekly swim session constructed of? So for something like that, Chris may be better off doing lots of shorter, sharper intervals where he's really able to focus on the work, but get lots and lots of rest so that he can recover, refocus, and then go again. Because if Chris were to do lots of long volume swimming, lots of long intervals, then he wouldn't be able to really focus on improving that catch at the front of the stroke, because you get tired. Once you get tired, you get sloppy, and it all starts to fall to bits a little bit. All right, so Chris, work on the front end of the stroke, think about your volume, and also think about what your weekly swimming volume is constructed of. How much endurance, how much speed work, how much technical work, and how much kind of threshold pace work there is. If you've got any questions about that particular breakdown, then let us know what you're doing. We'll have a chat to you about that. All right. But apart from that, mate, looks really good. Apart from that, you're doing really, really well. I'd say there's lots and lots of 90% good, maybe 10% that we can improve on. So you're doing really well as it is. But let's see if we can tune that up. All right. So hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions or comments about that, that's 25 minutes, should be 5, never mind. Then pop them in the comments. They will find their way through to us if you're watching this as a recording. But again, hope you found that useful, and I'll catch up with you and see you in the next one. Take care.